Welcome to UltiWorld's live coverage of the 2019 High School National Invite. We've got a good one between number 5, Edina, and number 8, Berkeley. Two teams that we did not expect to be in this spot here in the boys' final. Should be a good one. With Keith Rayner, I'm Daniel Prentice here to bring you this exciting game. Like I said, two teams we did not expect to see in this final, but two teams very deserving of their spot here.
Absolutely had to fight their way through some of the top teams at this tournament to reach this point, and now the state champions from Minnesota take on the state runner-up from California in a Berkeley team that I think has been very impressive and surprisingly so at this tournament.
Two teams hard to get a feel about who is the favorite in this one. Adina coming off a double game point break to win against the highest remaining seed, Lone Peak, in semifinals. Berkeley, on the other hand, beat a similarly strong Wilson High School. They were the 4 seed this weekend, but looked like one of the top teams here. So I think it would be fair to say that both these teams pulled off an upset to get to this point, at least one along the way. Berkeley also beat the top-seeded Grady High School out of Atlanta in pool play yesterday afternoon. And plenty of star power on both sides. Will be exciting to see them go head-to-head. You see Adina on your screen wearing green. Looks like they will start on defense. Taking a quick team photo right beforehand. And across the way from them, Berkeley in red. They'll be on the right side of your screen starting on offense.
Quite an eventful pregame. Berkeley showed off a bit of like a line dance that they went through. Edina with the team photo. So both teams recognizing that this will be the final games of their respective seasons, but one team will get to end it on their own terms as the High School National Invite champion.
A long gap between games for both these teams. Semifinal round ended around 1 o'clock. We are here at 5 o'clock Central Time in Rockford. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any rustiness to the start of this game as we see the opening pole fly out of bounds. So Berkeley will get us started in good field position.
The wind going from right to left on your screen. So a downwind O point to start for Berkeley Haiku.
It's Aiden Curry in the center. And a quick reset and getting it right back. And up the middle for a nice gainer. Curry going every other at Berkeley, quickly moving the disc. Daniel Essler with the disc. One-handed grab by Finnegan Graham. He drops it back to Seth Wells.
So early zone look from Edina. It's been pretty windy over the course of the day. It's coming gusts now, so we've seen a lot of zone from these teams.
Wells with the disc right back to Curry. Curry trying to pick his way through this Edina zone. Berkeley started quickly, would have been bogged down here in the red zone. And a little tip, I think, off the hand of Matt Johnson, enough to disrupt that pass. Edina D-line taking over possession. Pete Rock picking up. He's going to air it out right away. Looking for Hawken Rondesvet. Big bid from the talented Edina cutter, but he comes up short. Collision downfield, but an incompletion anyway. Elijah Gibbs unable to reel that one in. Edina takes over in the Berkeley half of the field. Rock hitting A.J. Larson. And an easy under to Nathan Seymour. Still no mark on Seymour. Coming to the near sideline to Thomas Tuchenhagen, right back to Seymour. Caught underneath by Johnson and then stripped away after the catch, so he'll keep the disc. Larson Just a couple of yards outside the end zone, right in front of that cone on the sideline. He's going to call timeout. So Edina looking for an early break. Very early in this game to be using one of your timeouts, I would say. But you can see what this point means to Edina.
An upwind break, as we've seen throughout this tournament, is incredibly valuable, especially one to open to put your opponent on their heels. So Edina really wants to make sure they get a great look at this. Take another look at this attempted layout block from Seth Wells.
You can see clearly caught by Johnson before Wells was able to make the play.
Probably a tie. I would say it's less clear than
that angle.
out.
That angle definitely a little closer than I thought on the previous angle. So an impressive bid from Wells. Both players came to the conclusion that it was a strip pretty quickly, to be fair. It'll be interesting to see what Edina draws up for the play out of the timeout. Not in a great position. Trapped on that sideline, and we saw earlier in the day teams really struggling to get off the sideline when they were there. Edina included. That was one of their big weaknesses in that win against Lone Peak.
They started that game off with 3 straight breaks against Lone Peak, and they're looking to start this one off with a break as well. So they're coming out of the timeout in the hands of Larson.
Larson will be marked by Marshall Wildman, it looks like. Larson with a disc in hand. Wildman checks to see if the defense is ready, and he taps the disc back into play. A little undercut. Gets open. Does Joe Wolford. Edina, just like they did in semifinals, starts the game with a break.
That's what you want out of the timeout if you are Edina. Well-executed set play generates an easy score, and in the red zone, it's all about creating easy opportunities to score so you don't have to make hard throws. And just that quick second look you can see in this slanted vertical stack. They kind of run a modified zipper, open up the front 2 cutters to the open and the break side, and then that third cutter quickly becomes an option after what seemed like they were out of the play.
And you can see Wolford timing that cut so well, right as Berkeley was rotating their matchups around defensively. So a clean D-line possession gets the break for Edina. Berkeley starting in an early hole.
Berkeley talking about how to make adjustments to their offense. A couple of personnel changes here.
Being talked to by head coach Lin Wang. Plays for Polar Bears in the Bay Area. Take a look at that. Edina D-line that just got that break. They'll be looking for another big forehand pull from Rondesvet. And that one lands in the back corner. Ideal, perfect pull for Edina. Tough field position for Berkeley.
And no surprise to see Edina set the zone after that great pull from Rondesvet.
Berkeley still trapped in their own end zone. Berkeley able to get off those resets, but as yet not able to gain any real yardage.
And the Hailers doing a great job staying composed. It's so easy to feel like you have to force something really difficult because you're in your own end zone. But for the most part, the game's still the same.
Really tough sledding for the Berkeley offense.
I mean, I didn't think it was possible to lose yards from that pull, but it almost feels like they have.
Finally getting a few there. Still in their own end zone, though, about halfway out, I would say.
Yeah, this is approaching the most passes I've ever seen a team make in their own end zone. Consecutively.
Certainly, yeah. Really great zone defense, but also commendable patience from the Berkeley offense.
Leo Gordon, star handler of this Berkeley team. They're still in their end zone right now.
Yeah, and they honestly haven't come close to leading it. I'd say they're about they're the halfway point, about 10 yards right in the middle of the end zone.
And as much as I'm praising the discipline of Berkeley, I got to say I'm impressed by the discipline of Edina, not overcommitting to anything. They're not crunching up their zone too much to really apply a ton of pressure. They're staying disciplined, and
there is a Callahan. Patient enough right into the last moment. Matt Johnson intercepts the reset. Incredible defense from Edina to keep Berkeley pinned deep. Keith, I did not mean to speak over you there, but an exciting moment. Edina gets the most exciting type of break you can get.
And that's a tough one to swallow if you are Berkeley. A patient possession, and then all of a sudden the dam breaks.
And it all starts with this pull from Ronnisvet. I mean, you really couldn't. Maybe you could by a foot or so, but you couldn't really pick a better spot to pin a team. And that snatch out of the air by Johnson, great reflexes.
Well, it's just a little too casual with that throw. Not really doing a convincing job of moving the defense and kind of taking his time as he turned around behind. Losing that sense of urgency, you felt like the Berkeley defense might lull Edina, or the Berkeley offense might lull Edina to sleep, but maybe they actually put themselves to sleep.
And Keith, they never left their own end zone. I felt like they maintained possession for about 5 minutes. Never once got out of their own end zone, and Johnson was finally the one to make the play defensively.
Well, this is a true test of Berkeley's mettle right now. I mean, this is a tough spot to bounce back from, but a clean hold here would do a lot to sap the momentum that it feels like Adina has picked up. And this is the second straight game of bracket play in which we've seen them start with multiple breaks.
And this pull from Pete Rock doesn't quite live up to the previous one from Ronnisvet.
Well, it turns out it's a lot easier to pull with the wind than against it.
Certainly.
Rock getting the short end of the stick there.
Certainly. So Berkeley has the disc right around midfield. Riley Kirkman-Davis hitting Noah Ball-Burek, getting it right back to Ball-Burek. Curry fakes the hammer, settles for the reset to Seth Wells, the thrower of the Callahan on the previous point.
And Johnson was coming around to try and get another interception. Johnson, a senior, headed to Iowa State next year. Maybe can help them try and get back to nationals again.
Curry bringing it back to Kirkman-Davis. And now some more rapid disc movement. Wells back to Kirkman-Davis. Near to that far sideline is Curry. Wells the swing to the wide open cutter downfield. Leo Gordon, he drops it back to Wells. Edina defense still making it tough for Berkeley to find space downfield. A near turnover there. Kirkman-Davis trying to find that lane to the end zone. Drops it back to Curry. Wells now.
They're staying in this zone all the way into the red zone. and it's been very effective so far.
Gordon getting it off that far sideline. A lot of touches for this Berkeley offense. But since entering the red zone, have not been able to advance the disc further downfield. Nice break throw from Curry. Quick continue, Liam Araneta.
Berkeley's offense doing a good job working sideline to sideline and using that width could spread out this cup, and that once they get the front layer of the defense wide, they may be able to throw that throw through.
And right as Keith says that, Curry finds the front corner. So another long possession for Berkeley. This one a little more fruitful.
And that is a clean hold. I mean, it felt challenged, but they do get that one without giving up possession. But I think they're going to need a little bit more to recapture the energy in this game, given the way that they went down 2 to start.
A lot of teams pull energy from their D-lines. First time we'll be able to see Berkeley's out on the field. Get a good look at the pretty sizable crowd we have here for these finals. Teams have stuck around despite the delay time between semis and the finals. So get a good look at the boys team from Neuqua Valley.
You know, this tournament is a Friday, Saturday event, very unusual, something we've tried out this year. And part of the appeal in that is being able to have all the teams be here for the semis and the finals. It's so often you get to the finals of the tournament and so many teams have left already. You know, it's late on a Sunday, you want to get home. And now with it on Saturday and most teams traveling back Sunday, we've got a pasta dinner, there's some activities around, and plenty of reason for teams to stick around and see who can win this game and add some of the atmosphere we enjoy so frequently at semis the day before.
Now our first look at the Edina offense, and that throw pops up in the air and ripped out of the air by a Berkeley defender. Hard contact coming back to the ground. Looks like we might have a call. Take another look.
Not enough snap on that throw, just delivered with the not a flat edge, so the wind able to catch a bit of it. And Lucas Beecher, who made the interception, looked clean to me. Looks like he's going to take an injury. Hakan Rondesvet also subbing in as Adina's going to transition to defense, and you want to get that star defender out there.
The springiness and reaction time from Speecher on that play was impressive. Hope that he's okay. See Gordon with the disc. Dropping it back for that reset. Ball Burak with it now. Reset back to Gordon. Right back to Kirkland Davis.
Just matchup defense right now from Edina, who's not looking to apply too much pressure. It seems like they've been willing to let Berkeley take some of the wide stuff to try and avoid giving them a big chance like this.
And it was Gordon who got power position. He hucks it downfield to Kirkman Davis on a wide drive, and Kirkman Davis elevates, making the catch. Berkeley gets the break back. We're tied at 2s.
I've only watched maybe a game and change of Edina Boys Ultimate this season, but I've yet to see anyone beat Hakan Rondesvet deep. And Gordon sneaking in a power position here, and then just a tremendous throw into the wind. Has to put it with a mark coming on and another defender in the lane. But you can see really just gets it out in front of his players so his receiver can just attack the disc with the advantage rather than have to play for a jump ball.
Yeah, taking Rondesvet out of the play, get a good look at Leo Gordon. And he is one of our players to watch for this game. He's a member was a member of the 2018 U.S. U-28 national men's team. Coached by Matty Sang at Willard Middle School. That's how he got his start. Not a bad first teacher of the game, Matty Sang.
He's all right.
Matty, of course, the longtime head coach of the women's club team, San Francisco Fury. And, folks, if you're not a fan of Brownie in motion in the college division, you might be upset by this news, but young Mr. Gordon will be attending Brown, the now defending national champions, in the fall. So the strong get stronger.
Yeah, and his future teammate, Jock Nissen, on the receiving end of Leo Gordon and Berkeley's win in semifinals, and now a potential Callahan, although looks like may just be a really, really great turnover.
Yeah, not quite a Callahan, despite Noe Motomedi's best efforts to save that one. Although it looks a little bit closer.
That looks like a Callahan on the video.
Replay. But certainly a nice defensive play by Kirkman Davis. And Berkeley will take over on the goal line. Disc in the hands of Kirkman Davis. And it's Gordon who wriggles free for the score. We are back on serve. That's back-to-back breaks for Berkeley.
Does this feel a little bit like the last Edina game that we watched? They went up a couple breaks to start, gave a quick run back to their opponent, and then it was a pretty even game the rest of the way. This one similar. We see another attempted high release break. Does look like that's down, but Adina, I believe, started last possession going downwind on offense, and Rosenthal tried the exact same throw, that kind of lofty high release right over the cup, and this time that Berkeley defense is waiting for it.
Yeah, Kirkman Davis reading it like a book. Gets the easy swat.
And it was a quick read, too. I mean, that was cover to cover.
Keith mentioned some fun festivities on the sidelines. You see our big pink flamingo over there. And now a look at the Edina O-line that has yet to get a hold in this one.
Probably, I would estimate that it's the largest flamingo in the state of Illinois. I'm just going to throw that out there. Prove me wrong.
It's probably in contention. I don't know that I'd be willing to go all out without having seen a few more Illinois flamingos. That it is, in fact, the biggest.
They're a rare wild species, my friend. And every coach's favorite player, the one that you call on the line, it doesn't hear you. Everybody has to wait for him.
It's Gordon on the pull. So Leo Gordon getting plenty of playing time early. And another immediate turn, that centering pass a little bit behind the intended target, Matt Compeline. Rosenthal with another red zone turnover. Maybe a miscommunication there, but another short field for Berkeley. It's Curry to pick up. Oh, goes for the challenging break throw, looking for Gordon.
And a sigh of relief for Edina after nearly giving away what would have been a brutal break.
And Edina just can't seem to get anything right at the moment. Rock jumps up, goes for the clap catch, just whiffs on it. Wind probably a factor, but it's another short field for Berkeley.
Again, looking for Gordon at the front of the stack. Larson with excellent defense. Gordon comes back.
We've already seen Gordon's ability as a thrower. Puts his teammate just outside the end zone. It's Aiden Price. Set to Kirkman Davis. Now across the face of goal into the end zone is Motomedi. Berkeley takes another break. That's 3 straight.
Yeah, and Adina hasn't been able to advance more than 10 yards away from their end zone in their past 3 possessions. And talk about a pendulum swing here. I mean, this game has flipped on its head twice already. And just like in Adina's semifinal, the defenses are ruling the day. That is, defense is 5, offense is 1 in this game.
And Keith, you talk about plays that are big momentum swingers. Usually a Callahan is a pretty high up on that list in terms of plays that you feel like can really change a game. But Edina, getting the Callahan on the second point of the game, have not scored since.
Not enough perfect downwind pulls. They pulled upwind once since then. Haven't been able to get back on defense.
It's hard to pull when you keep giving up scores. But Edina keeps sending the O-line out there. And this is something that we discussed in their semifinal against Lone Peak, that they often didn't bring over some of their top D-line players to the offense, namely Håkan Rondesvet.
I mean, their defense and their offense scored the same amount of points in that semifinal, 5 and 5 apiece. And I imagine the defense with a lot fewer possessions to do so. Thanks, Steve Sullivan. You know, I think their offense has not been their strong suit so far. I think this is a team that wants to be on defense, particularly in these windy conditions.
And that pull went out the back of the end zone.
But that last point, you know, they give up that first turnover, and that's because of a hard charging pull coverage coming down. I think shook that offense a little bit. Now it's Berkeley in the zone. Similar 3-3-1 cup zone here. And they're applying a lot of pressure to the throwers right now.
Larson able to sneak that one through to Rock. Compoline now on the far sideline. Edina struggling to solve this zone defense at the moment. Nice air bounce from Rock. Larson had to go down to get it. Now out across the midway point of the field is Edina, and there we do see Håkan Rondesvet out on an O-line point. I think for the first time today, I don't recall him doing that against Lone Peak. So an adjustment from Edina to get their top players on the field, really needing to end this run from Berkeley. Larson able to get it off the sideline, hitting Compoline. Paul Krennick dropping it back to Compoline. The swing to Rondesvet, excuse me, Keith, sorry.
Really compressed zone right now from Berkeley. Still trying to apply a lot of pressure up front. Edina stay conservative. And there's just another mis-executed backhand throw. They've struggled to really get the right release on those in these windy conditions.
Trying to go a little too quick, perhaps, once they entered the red zone. Gordon winding up a big backhand, trying to come back the other way. That one does stay in bounds, but it's knocked away. I believe by Rondesvet.
Yeah, they may have gotten him the first time, but I think he had a good read on that one. But happy to have this Edina offense have to go more yardage against this Berkeley zone.
Will Brandt dropping it back to Rondesvet.
And I think this is, it looks like something of a trap look right now from Berkeley as they switch the middle of the cup to marking so that the off player, you might call a point or something, depends on your terminology, can pressure the reset. Rondesvet breaks through it with an over-the-top throw.
That was Thomas Tuchenhagen. But you see the turnover there, one throw later. Matt Compoline throwing into the block. It's Kirkman Davis looking for Gordon right away. Rondesvet in the area. Rondesvet goes up. Gordon gets it, though. Berkeley, they're on a roll.
What is happening? I mean, Berkeley has taken total control of this game. Rondesvet not quite able to line that up correctly, goes up early. Gordon has a much better read on it and brings it down. And Curry just saw that huck coming the whole way.
A nice throw from Kirkman Davis. But you mentioned the block from Curry. The throw was really pretty broadcast by Matt Compeline that it was coming.
And I love the concept. Like, I like, you catch that really wide throw and got a chance to look deep, but Hawk and Rondesvet able to get it back, but they have to take him back off knowing it's going to be necessary to get breaks, but he's, of course, one of the players to watch.
And he has been on the varsity squad since the 8th grade.
That'll help you rack up the most blocks in team history.
Certainly. So just a junior, but in his 4th year on the team. He was pretty proud to share with us that statistic. With a whole other year after this season, might be able to put that record away for a good long while. He was also first team All-State Minnesota as a sophomore last season. Would imagine he'll probably repeat those honors this year.
Yeah, the junior is going to be a prized recruit in next year's class. Got to imagine Minnesota, where his brother plays, has the inside track.
For now, though, Edina really just needs to figure out how to play some clean offense. They have yet to get a hold in this game, already down 5-2. See Eddie Rosenthal running down that swing, pops it to Brandt. Back to Compeline now. Finally, some quick disc movement, gained some yardage. Disc back in the hands of Brandt.
Not sure why Brandt chose to look off the throw that he ended up throwing 5 seconds later. Take it earlier while the defense is in motion.
Rosenthal pops that one to Rock. Rock goes low. That one mowed the lawn but stayed up just long enough for the catch. Compeline to Brandt. Some quick throwing from Brandt. Gains a couple yards. Easy reset from Rock back to Brandt. AJ Wind with the disc. He'll be playing with Oregon Ego next season. So the disc being brought back on a travel call.
I actually think there was a downfield foul call. So players are trying to figure out where the foul occurred in relation to the rest of the play.
Wind does the same thing upon resumption. It's now with Compeline. He's going to go all the way across the field. That one is floating, but caught by Larson. Brandt going to swing it back to Compeline. Rock occupying that middle for much of this point. Quick throw to Larson. Triggered the offense for a few yards there, but have slowed the pace back down again.
Transition to match up now for Berkeley as Adina nears the end zone.
Rosenthal, a nice change of direction to get open. Compeline once again as Adina still looking for their first hold. And there they had it in a stone-cold drop in the end zone. Paul Krennick unable to hang on to that one.
A little help from the defense here. A little poach, maybe just enough to distract him. Aiden Price able to throw his focus off. And Berkeley a chance to continue their run. 5 straight right now. Larson staying to poach deep, play a little center field to try and slow down the Huck.
Berkeley out across midfield. Disc in the hands of Gordon. A little center to Curry. Speecher now swinging to the near sideline, hitting ball Burak. Gordon cutting strike. I think trying to leap into the end zone, but just outside, back to ball Burak. And there it is. Berkeley does add to their tally. Edina can't get anything right. Berkeley doing everything right. They've scored 6 in a row.
And I remain stunned at how effective this Berkeley offense has been after the turn. After starting out slow, they have just been in just a state of nirvana offensively.
And Adina finally calling a timeout, trying to regroup. Really in the middle of a nightmare right now is Edina. And kind of just came out of nowhere, as Keith said. I mean, they got off to that perfect start. Gave up one hold to Berkeley, and they haven't been able to score since.
Yeah, I mean, the Edina offense has not scored. That'll tell you what you need to know right now.
Yeah, usually 8 points into the game, you don't want to still be able to say that your offense hasn't scored. Now, it's nice if you get 8 breaks.
Right, not unless you got 8 breaks.
But that is not where we're at.
And really going to be a tough test. We said that after that second break was conceded by Berkeley that they were really going to have their mettle tested. Well, Adina is now in a very deep hole, and we're going to find out what they're made of here.
Now, we do know, and I think if they're grasping at straws for a bit of comfort, they do know if they are able to finally get a hold. Their defense has already shown the ability to get breaks against Berkeley. So, you know, a lot of game left. We obviously don't want to say that this one is over, but they do desperately have to get a hold here at some point. Sooner rather than later would be preferable for them. And we see
they've only forced 2 turnovers in this run.
Yeah, it's really been a masterclass from Berkeley. You get a look at the conditions, really turning into quite a nice afternoon. Just 77 degrees. I came up here from Florida, Keith. Quite the break from the summer heat for me. We've got a nice little breeze. It doesn't seem to have had too much of an impact on this game.
I don't know if Edina would agree with you. I mean, they had a couple of really odd miscues in the wind that I think have helped grease the wheels for Berkeley. But we also have seen them very tentative about going deep. I mean, we've seen very few hucks from Edina. They've been content to keep the disc moving, but I mean, I think a lot of it for them is how they're executing in the end of possessions. The red zone turnovers have really hurt them. But also, again, revisiting, they struggled to generate turns after their own mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just been quite the turnaround for Berkeley after struggling so mightily offensively those first couple of points.
I mean, if I were Adina, I would be hoping to be able to set my zone going the other way the next time you get. So, you know, you hold up wind here, turn around, and throw your zone. But even if you get scored on here, you still might try and go back to that strategy, although it's tough when they're going to put themselves in a position where they're up against the clock, too.
Curry with the low laser pull. Going to roll out the back of the end zone. So Edina will start on their own goal line. And that one rolls into the weeds.
No complaints, though. Just a Just one of the Edina guys on the sideline. Willing to take one for the team there. Berkeley back in their zone.
Larson now in the backfield. Nice backhand to Rosenthal. Rosenthal to Brandt.
Rosenthal crossing over, typically a D-line guy for them, I think.
Larson with the hammer off the fingertips of Rock. Looked like maybe jumped a little bit early. Unable to make the catch.
And, you know, they tried playing dink and dunk, now trying to a little bit more aggressive, and that not working for them either. They're going to have to step it up on defense.
It's Elliott Kirkham picked up. Samuel Kaplan resetting to Curry in the middle. Curry hits Wildman. A dangerous slide there from Wildman. He looks like he's okay.
Adina not able to challenge these resets at all. Looks like there's a call that may stop play. Maybe let them make an adjustment. But Berkeley's had their way in the backfield on this possession.
And a rotational line out there, too. Diego Berrigan, we haven't called his name. Curry's been a mainstay, but a lot of these players on the line with him, some of the deeper D-line players for Berkeley. Oh, but that one too low. Looking for Dave and Sue, unable to make the catch. So they haven't been able to do it a whole lot in this game, but the Edina O-line does get the disc back. And they're able to attack this Berkeley defense in transition. Rock to Brandt on the free reset. Rosenthal going down the line now, some quick movement. Gets into the hands of Larson.
Nice job by Rosenthal to approach and get the gainer before the trap gets set. No real option for Rock to get it off the line, so he creates his own.
Some crafty throws from Edina, and there it is. It took them 6 points, but Edina finally gets on the board with a hold. Larson with the score.
Well, this is their chance. I mean, they wanted to be going downwind on defense. So we see that low throw from Curry, just mishandled. And you could see how much it meant to Edina to finally right their wrongs. It just felt like there's been a lid on the end zone for them.
Yeah, big moment of relief. I think they just need to remember that they can, in fact, score. And they get their first goal with the O-line in this game.
Well, to stick with the lid analogy commonly used in basketball, there's a lid on the basket. They say sometimes you just need to see a couple go through. You know, you're missing all your three-pointers, so take a couple layups or take a couple free throws. Just get the ball going through the net, get that rhythm going. And, you know, now Edina's got one that's gone through the net. They can start to feel confident again.
And Keith mentioned this. He mentioned this a couple points ago, but it certainly does seem like they like to have their D-line out there a little bit more than their offense.
Well, the other thing is that offensive personnel has just been working right now, so they really need a break. And if this D-line could give them a rest with at worst a long point before half, that would be much appreciated. But they love the D-line could try and get them back into this game.
And that was another nice forehand pull from Rondisfet. Big gainer there underneath. Is Berkeley able to clear from their own end zone?
These D-line guys have been on the sideline cooling off, and now suddenly have to fire it back up.
Price with the high release. That one's knocked away and then knocked down. We have a call on the play, but at the moment it looks like Joe Wolford had the block for Edina.
Looks like Berkeley intends to agree. Oh, maybe not. Yep.
Take another look. The high release, Wolford able to beat Ball Burak to the disc. So now Edina, they finally get the D-line back out there, and they have a pretty quick chance to break.
You got to think if you're going to spark a comeback, if you're going to ignite a fire, this is the chance to do it. Going in a half with a big deficit could be a real problem for Adina, and they're just a couple points away from potentially doing that.
It's Rondesvet with the disc, looking for Seymour, but impressive defense from the Berkeley O-line. They get it back. Ball Burak swinging it to the middle to Wells. Wells thought about the aggressive blade, but resets it to Ball Burak before getting it right back. Price to Wells. Edina, that front line of the zone has done a nice job of limiting those holes, and a block right at the point by Johnson.
He does it again.
Don't think that one was quite in Callahan territory, but great.
I mean, if
field
he had managed
position.
to turn that into a Callahan, I would have just proclaimed him Lord of Ultimate and left.
It is still a nice reaction block by Johnson.
I mean, that is just third block of the game. And I think, well, obviously at least two of them have been that style of block.
And the thrower, Price, got banged up on the play, so he comes off the field. It'll be Rock picking up for Edina. Immediate dish to Rondesvet. Edina, they're going to need a few more, but they do get the break. Getting the D-line out there was just what the doctor ordered.
All right, well, for those keeping track at home, that's defense is 8, offense is 2. Not a day to be on O-lines. And I was starting to become a little concerned about Edina's zone, which is very quiet. I think it's usually a bad sign about your zone defense when they're not talking to each other. But Johnson's been really adept at sensing the rhythm of the offense and then pouncing when they don't expect him to. And that kind of playmaking can sometimes carry your zone. You just give your team a chance to kind of find the pattern in the offense.
You see on the sideline there, Durham Academy. Durham made quarterfinals this weekend. They didn't look too occupied with the game, though, Keith.
Oh, you know kids these days. They have their phones.
Such short attention spans.
Their social media.
Hopefully these two sides here in the final at the high school national invite will give them something to be excited about. It has definitely been one for the defenses. Rondesvet pulling into the wind this time. Able to clear the halfway point of the field, but not much more. Quick give and go between Curry and Ball Burak. Now Curry dropping it back to Kirkland Davis. Wells swinging it to Gordon. Gordon with the hammer fake.
Johnson gets caught, trying to sneak into the backfield for a block there, but no continue options for Berkeley.
Gordon get it once again. The fake to ball Burak. That one pops up on him, but caught by Kirkman Davis. Gordon through the middle to ball Burak. Quick continue to Wells as Berkeley looks to solve this Edina zone defense. Quick little catch and throw to Araneta. Wells back to the middle to Gordon.
Berkeley making this cup work. Larson's had to play a lot of points, and he's up there.
Gordon just playing some casual catch out there. You see Johnson lurking. Berkeley having to move it backwards.
Being able to make the throwers hesitate like that is a real advantage as a defense. Having them have to think about you is exactly what you're hoping for in a zone.
So far, though, Berkeley been able to maintain possession, but that one pops up on Gordon. Sails out of bounds. Knocked away by Wolford just for good measure. But Edina will have their second chance to break in as many points.
Berkeley able to take the transition to a zone of their own and gets a block.
That throw from Larson swatted down by Kirkman Davis, so short field now for Berkeley. As Kirkman Davis will pick up. Quick throw to the corner. Hits Wells for the score. So it's not something we've seen a lot of from Berkeley either when their offense has turned it. Able to get a rare block back, and they get the hole.
So Edina not able to quite get on the run they would have liked here despite a chance to do that. Larson's throw blocked and then not able to transition quick enough. Just get beat to the front side cone.
And Keith, one thing I've felt for quite a while now is that we need a word. You know, we have bookends to get the block and catch the goal. We need a word for if you get the block and then get the assist. That's exactly what Kirkman Davis got there.
I think people have tried many things for this. I don't know if we've quite landed on something like the half bookends or something like that, but I think we need just a clean tone.
I agree.
You're not wrong.
We'll brainstorm on it, try to come up with something.
Feel free to tweet at us with your ideas or maybe something you already use. Now, I've heard of the walrus as the reverse bookends when you both turn it over and get scored on. But what's between there?
Berkeley pulling will have a chance. They get this goal, a break for half. A little dicey there on the early throw, but Rock able to stoop down for it. Rock the Scuba to Brandt. Everything on this near sideline so far, though, for Adina. Nice job by Rock to swing the disc. And now quick movement. Rosenthal hitting Compline on the reset. Gives it right back.
Berkeley transitions out of their zone.
And a pop to Brandt. Brandt fakes the mark miles away from him. Able to come back, find the easy throw to Krennic. So a clean hold for Adina. That is their first of the game.
Also the first time that a team has scored and then not scored the next goal. We've only scored in pairs so far, and Adina breaks that Again, watch this around fake created by getting all the way to that break side. I mean, you can almost credit Rosenthal with the ability of that fake to dictate the mark all the way over. Mark kind of in desperation mode to avoid the breakthrough. So 7-5. It's a 2-goal game, and it certainly feels like it's much more distinct than that. I believe we've got a timeout on the field as both teams are headed into their respective tents.
I didn't catch who called it. But Keith, as you mentioned, I didn't even notice this, but 12 points of the game, that's the first time we've seen an exchange of holds.
Offense is back, baby. O-line for life.
Definitely not been an O-line for life game for the most part.
No, by no means. So I've expressed this before on our live stream, so forgive me if you've heard this before, but I talk about how philosophically I'm coming around to the idea that offense and defense actually do the opposite things for your chances of winning the game. Your offense actually defends your chance to win the game, and your defense attacks the other team's opportunity. And right now, Adina needs to really be on that attack. They need to be able to get back in front of Berkeley with an aggressive defense and an offense that can come out and just keep this team alive with holds like that.
I definitely heard you talk about this, Keith, and it's very correct. And I think that's why we use the terminology used in tennis. You know, tennis is very similar. You want to get the holds offensively and get the breaks, the points that win you the game or win you the match in tennis with your defense. And so Berkeley will now have a chance to hold for half. See, again, head coach Lin Wang out there. Energy pretty low from Edina, I have to say. There's still a lot of game left. And this was something that I mentioned before the game. With such a huge gap between semis and the final, how would these teams manage the energy? And it seemed initially like Edina had certainly won that battle, getting those 2 early breaks, but have not been able to maintain that energy.
Well, I'm making some assumptions here, but to my understanding, much of high school league play takes place in individual game formats. So I think these teams are fairly used to having a game isolated in the day. And the coaches are used to the type of rotation that you need to run in that situation. And while today isn't quite that, I think that the teams are probably going to not be too thrown off by having a gap before this final.
You saw the shared sideline there trying to ramp up the energy of this game. As Berkeley looks to hold to take half. Big windup and fake from Kirkman Davis.
Now unmarked, why not?
Said he settled for the reset to Wells. Curry coming back for that one. An open cut underneath Samuel Kaplan. Ball Burek with a sliding grab. Now looking for Gordon. And Gordon with the bid, able to get fingers to it. Not able to hold on. So Edina will have a chance to chip away at this lead before the half. It'll be Pete Rock picking up for Edina. Quick center to Rondesvet.
Rock crossing over for some defense here, and I'm sure that'll be much appreciated now that they're back on offense. And Berkeley's back in their zone.
Johnson with the disc. Rock now getting that drop back. Quick give and go between him and Rondesvet. Doesn't gain any yards, but does reset that stall.
And they look like they're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle here to get the disc off the line, lest they have a mistake like this. Nearly turned over on the sideline, but they've thrown 4 or 5 throws within 3 yards of the sideline right now.
And just inbounds with Russell Spence on that one. Ronasvet able to break the mark to hit Seymour.
And I really think Seymour wants to continue to get them away from this sideline. They finally got it off the line with a throw and immediately went right back to the same space. And we talked about how in the semifinal they struggled with playing offense from the sideline. Different opponent, different situation. But the habit's still returning.
Yeah, it's all still on that far half of the field. Nice adjustment mid-air. The grab from Ronasvet. Oh, and throwing into the point block. Heads up defensive play by Wildman, and then the huck too far for Kirkman Davis. Berkeley able to flip the field, but nothing more with their second possession offensively. But Edina going back to that far sideline pretty quickly.
And you can see every Edina player on camera right now as they have played in a small space, and that makes it way easier for this defense to come away with a block.
Now Berkeley knocking on the door of the hold for half. Curry swing to the end zone. Sliding grab, held onto for the score. So Edina, a couple of chances to chip away at that lead. Offense gets pinned on the sideline both times, though, and Berkeley gets the hold in the end. Take a look at this foot block from Noah Ball-Burak to get the disc back to set this score. Sliding catch by Kaplan. So Berkeley with an impressive first half. Edina will have a hole to climb out of in the second. We've got 1 half left here at the boys' half of the high school national invite. As the boys take a breather, we will do the same, but be sure to come back for the second half.
And a huge layout block. And there he fakes open some room and then small balls his way into the end zone.
Every time we touch the license, we play better. Let's go, take down the field.
An Ulti-World subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Welcome back for the second half of the boys' final at the high school national invite, the Sports Corps in Rockford, Illinois. Got 1 half left here between Berkeley and Edina. Berkeley with an 8-5 lead. Went on a big run in the first half, taking a commanding lead. Edina able to come back a little bit, Keith, but down 3 here to start the second half. Famously, though, the most dangerous lead in Ultimate. Do you think we see that play out here?
I've always found that phrase to be preposterous, but I guess it felt right at Division I college nationals, so why not? As much as this game belonged, the first half really belonged to Berkeley, Adina had the disc with a chance to make it 7-6, which is kind of remarkable when you look back at how that first half went.
Now, I would say most times you probably want to start a half on offense, particularly the second half. That might not be true for Edina, though. Major offensive struggles in the first half. They'll be looking to get a quick hold to get that D-line back out there that I think was responsible for more goals than their offense. Keith, is that correct? You're our stat man over there.
Yes. Everybody's defense outscored their offense. But Berkeley had a lot less chances, their offense, in fairness to them.
So if you like old school SEC football, you probably like this game of Ultimate. Very defense first. And that opening pull of the half sails out of bounds. It'll be Matt Compeline starting quickly to Rosenthal and then Rock. Quick disc movement from Edina. This is something they struggled to do in the first half. Compeline with the disc on the sideline. Little pop over a defender and into the hands of Larson. Quick, clean hold. That's just how Edina would have wanted to start the second half.
Confident offensively. Just walked it down with a few throws, very few contested ones. Not a lot of even difficult throws. One high release here from Compeline to finish it off, but he's got two wide open targets with no defense around them. So the wing on that zone just getting drawn into that first layer. That opens up the space for the over-the-top throw.
So Edina getting the hold to start, the quick hold. That's as much as they possibly could have asked for to start in the second half.
Yeah, time is of the essence for them. I mean, they don't have all day to mess around with this. They're going to need a comeback, and they're going to need some breaks to do it. And right now, they're against an offense going downwind, so it's going to be tough sledding.
We mentioned Edina's offensive struggles. Berkeley, they weren't writing a textbook offensively by any means themselves in the first half.
They did get Callahan on the second point of the game, but they are both teams trying to fire it up in the second half as the sidelines are starting to have some volume.
It's Curry picking up for Berkeley. Marked by Seymour. Easy under. Caught by Elijah Gibbs.
But Gibbs under some duress now, but Curry gets up the line.
And Curry back to Gibbs. A nice gainer to Wildman. Wildman back to Curry. Curry been a mainstay as that primary handler for Berkeley. Noah Ball-Burak making that catch from Wildman. And before I'm back to the middle, that one pops up right at the last second. Intercepted by Edina. They're coming back the other way. Seymour thought about the big backhand. It's Rosenthal marked by Wildman. There the turnover, looking for James Harvey. This going to come back. Guessing a foul on the throw. Disc back in play. Rosenthal, the reset to Seymour and the swing to Johnson. Around to Rondesvet. High stall throw from Rondesvet pops up, and it's intercepted by Curry. Getting over a couple of Edina cutters downfield.
It's been a tough game offensively for Rondesvet. Really not able to get going.
Wells catches that one around his ankles. Kirkman Davis dropping it back to Ball-Burak. Gibbs to Wells. Berkeley patient here. their second possession of the point. And right as I say that, Curry looking for the end zone. That one's out of bounds. Wildman giving it his best effort, but never had a chance at that one. And now Wildman appears to be a little banged up.
Curry with a little too much loft on that and pushed out of the back of the end zone by the wind. But it gives Berkeley a chance to set their zone after the turn.
Honest that. Notice that with a quick exchange with Rosenthal. And a blade to Johnson works out.
That's going to force a transition from Berkeley. Completely unmarked Rosenthal, but they get almost nothing out of it.
Yeah, just a couple of yards to Russell Spence. Now in the hands of Max Pumarlo. Drops it back to Seymour. Seymour going for the big gainer, looking for it all. And Rondesvet lays out, snags it. There's the break Edina needed to get back into this one. And who else but Rondesvet?
I was just saying he had been pretty quiet in this one. And he visits the end zone for the second time this game. Struggled behind the disc, but getting him out in front where his athleticism can make such an impact for this team has paid off in spades here, as this is now a one-goal game. And Adina going with the wind.
The flat huck from Seymour, but Rondesvet exploding off the ground to make that catch.
You can see the reactions of the parents on the sideline as Rondesvet leaves his feet for this one. He's got the crowd into it.
And Keith, this is something we actually talked about in Edina's semifinal against Lone Peak. Felt like we hardly ever saw Rondesvet go deep. He was often taking the touches, doing the throwing, but he finally leaves a big imprint on this game. With such explosiveness from the junior. He's be right back out there on the D-line as Edina looks for another break. But this game has been crying out for a big play for a little while, it feels like. We'll see if that one can fire up Edina.
Yeah, this feels like a pivotal point. I mean, either we're going to get this game close to even, or Berkeley's going to respond and force Edina to go back upwind.
Big pull from Rondesvet. Too big this time. Sails out the back. So Berkeley bringing it up to the brick mark. It'll be Kirkman Davis to start the point for Berkeley. Curry to Speecher to Wells. Back to Speecher. Dropping it back to Curry now. Curry coming to Wells, to Speecher. Speecher active in that middle area so far this point for Berkeley. Nice triangle passing from Berkeley as they patiently attack this Edina zone.
Tuchenhagen is playing the short deep in this zone, that's middle of that second layer. He's got one of the toughest spaces to cover here to try and help this cut, but also help the downfield. And while he doesn't have any blocks to his name, I think he's been a critical part of when this zone has been successful.
Curry turning, looking for someone, settles for Wells behind him. Kirkman Davis back to Wells. Wells and Kirkman Davis exchanging a few passes there. They'll do so again. Kirkman Davis coming to the wide open Curry.
Adina doing a good job limiting the damage here, even when they're giving up throws around to the outside of the cup as they apply the trap now with the disc out of a handler's hands. They haven't really let those throws turn into big gainers or those that really ruin their zone.
They're still on the near sideline. Finally, a new player to touch the discus point for Berkeley, Edina.
Still in the trap set by Adina. They're trying, and they're finally Berkeley finds the middle of the field.
In the hands of Gordon now. And an awkward bounce, but caught by Curry.
I think that was deflected out of his hands from behind.
Gordon to Speecher. Speecher trying to jump into the end zone. Looked like he might have jumped after he caught it. Players talking it out.
It's also kind of an interesting situation. I mean, does the defense owe the offense the right to that space if you jump? Do you have to give them a clear landing? I actually don't. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on the rules of Ultimate, and I actually don't know the answer to this.
See the players talking it out there. They don't seem to be any more sure than you are, Keith.
I mean, I would think if you leave the ground and enter a space that the defense is already in while you're in midair, then I think it would be an offensive foul, right? You're the one who went into someone else's space while out of control.
I would be inclined to agree with you. You see, it's ruled that Speecher was not in, and so now Berkeley right back to work offensively. Dropping it back. See Gordon directing his teammates around. Going to settle for the reset to Speecher. Number of Gordon touches has greatly increased as Berkeley has gotten into the red zone. Kirkman Davis right back to Speecher.
Nicely done there by Speecher to use the feint of that chiseling cut from behind to break through the cup. Johnson trying to pounce on one there.
We've seen him do that a couple times in this game. Wasn't able to get to that one. Swing to Curry. Curry right back to Gordon.
Left hand, Kai. Left hands.
We talked about how big it is for them to score this upwinder. It forced Edina to come back upwind.
Another near block.
Tense moments here, Daniel.
Berkeley marching it down inches at a time. Big moment in this game if Berkeley can get a hold, maintain that breathing room.
And Adina, it sounds like from the coaching side, they're trying to transition to matchup defense. So difficult when you're so close to the end zone, and even the smallest window could be the one that gets you scored on.
Yeah, you saw no mark on Curry there. And they swing it to the near side and then continue to the end zone. That's about as patient work offensively as you will see. Berkeley able to get the hold.
And a big one at that for Berkeley. And I think it was a dicey proposition to try and transition a matchup here.
Yeah, it just started to feel like Berkeley wasn't ever going to turn it against that zone. Trying to make an adjustment to get the disc. And Berkeley takes advantage. Curry gets left alone. The free throw and then the quick movement to initiate the give and go sets up the goal. But again, a hold for Edina gets us right back in the same situation. We are starting to run out of time.
Pressure is really on Edina here. I think you can expect Berkeley to continue to flash that zone defense, try and make Edina work through it. And I wonder if we might see Edina continue to try and be aggressive upwind. Maybe push Ronsfeld downfield, although he's not on here, so maybe they'll try and target Larson. But we have not seen them be very aggressive, despite being an athletics team with good size and speed.
Brave catch on the pole by Rosenthal. Ooh, and a near early turn. Compline hitting rock on that reset. Giving up a lot of yards to reset to Rosenthal.
And I just don't know why you throw that necessarily without setting yourself up in a position where you can try and get a continue off. And you see Rock is forced to try and fight that through, although he's going to call a foul.
Ball, Burrock celebrating like he got the point block.
But to continue the theme on what I'm speaking about, in zone offense, you kind of have to think a throw ahead. You have to think not what am I getting with this throw, but what is getting this throw going to allow me to do? Where am I going to be able to go with the disc after I get this? Particularly if you're one of the handlers, you need to be thinking about how does this throw set up my next look? And it seems like Adina's been pretty complacent about just taking what's in front of them and not thinking forwardly at all. And they're winding up in really difficult positions because of it.
And that was a difficult position there. Maybe bailed out by that foul call. Pretty bang on the replay, hard to tell. And now a little more aggressive of a look from Rock, the hammer to Larson.
Deflected on the return pass by Larson, or by Gordon, and then Larson throws it away. Surprised we haven't seen them be more aggressive attacking to Larson. He may be the best player in the air on the field right now.
But after the fortune, Edina giving it right back on the turf from Larson. So Berkeley, a break here. Opportunity to do so would really put the game away, you feel. Speecher, a pretty influential last couple of points for Berkeley. He has the disc now. Reset the ball, Burrock.
Edina's marks really unable to stop these arounds from Berkeley.
Kirkman Davis the disc. Speecher with the catch, the fake swing and pivot back to the middle. Hits Araneta for the score. That is a big break for Berkeley.
And I'm not sure exactly what the marks were trying to do there for Edina, giving up way too much to the open side, and then you see as they get that swing off the line, over pursuit by the mark there, and that makes it really easy to dish it right into the end zone. Here you're going to see the over pursuit by the mark to take away that continue throw, and that just sets up a little dish towards the goal line. And I think the force was back towards this backhand sideline. So it's just really unclear what their marking scheme was trying to accomplish. And it could just be fatigue. I mean, this Edina squad is, particularly the guys who've been out there on offense, have had to play a lot in this game. And a lot of very long points at that.
Now, this was certainly not an impactful part of that play, but I do want to point out that Riley Kirkman Davis was playing with his jersey in his mouth on that point. I've noticed that a couple of times in this game.
A couple times. I mean, I would say 70% of the time he's on the field, his jersey is in his mouth. It's kind of surprising to me that there isn't some sort of mark left on the jersey. Players still chilling in the Flamingo as we get close to wrapping up the 2019 High School National Invite from the Mercy Health Sports Core 2 complex in Rockford, Illinois. It's been quite a couple of days.
See Berkeley there. I think probably sensing being very near to a title here. Up 10-7, just a few minutes left.
And I think they would have been given long odds to be the high school national invite champion. I think you might have said the same thing about Edina, but they have looked the part. I mean, they are a skillful, deep team. Nearly every player who's touched the disc has looked like a competent one, confident with the disc and able to make continued throws. It hasn't been fancy, but they have looked very solid. They lost their state final to Gunn High School in incredibly windy conditions. Just brutally, nearly unplayably windy conditions. So I think for them, this has got to feel comfortable.
It'll be Gordon on the pull.
And Adina basically needs to start scoring in 3 or 4 throws. They need 30-second goals here. Maybe another Callahan.
Rosenthal catching the pull. It's center to Compeline. Larson's a little casual, but it's caught by Krennic. Oh, and Larson falling downfield. Berkeley taking over just over a minute from Hardcap.
Here's a hanger.
Yeah, that one floating. Ball Burak getting up over his defender to make the catch.
It's exactly the kind of opportunity Edina needs.
Speecher with it now. I do want to correct myself. It is a minute left to soft cap. There will be no hard cap in this game. Gordon with the disc in the middle of the field. Big layout from Speecher. I think just able to get a little bit of contact with the disc. Certainly not able to make the catch. Trying to come back the other way are Adina. Nice huck to Larson just past Gordon. Adina to wind. That is a goal. So Edina definitely needed that one.
I mean, I'm not trying to say I know better than the folks involved in this game or anything, but I feel like you really want to get Larson going deep more. It's been effective. He's winning matchups in the deep space and in the air. Now the guy's got to be getting close to E on the tank. He has to lead this game in points played.
So Gordon so close to getting that block. Not quite able to get up high enough for it. But you know, Keith, there just hadn't been a whole lot of transition moments for Edina. Berkeley's been able to set that zone, and a zone can really limit your ability to attack deep. But some of the most success offensively we've seen from Edina have been when they have been able to attack deep. That huck to Larson there, the huck earlier in the half to Rondesvet.
So Edina's still going upwind, and the soft cap horn going off, so still waiting to determine what the high score in this game will be, but without a hard cap, Edina's going to get their chance to come back. And certainly a comeback here would etch your names into the high school national invite history book, which is, 5 pages long or so, but still more to be written, so you'll be right up front.
It's Rondesvet on the pull, electing to pull backhanded this time. He's pulled mostly forehand in this one.
Most of those forehand pulls have been with the wind.
It's Curry centering to Gordon. Wells towing the line to haul in that one from Kirkman Davis. Now Kirkman Davis looking for Gordon deep. Couple defenders giving chase. Gordon, easy catch in the end. Quick score on the hook for Berkeley.
And we haven't seen a lot of that as we've seen so much matchup defense, but Gordon just roasting the defense.
And not a whole lot of quick points. Haven't been a whole lot of opportunities deep for either team. See Gordon milking that one a little bit. With that score, we are now playing game to 13 with the 11-8 advantage. You can see why Gordon was smiling at the end of that one. The 2019 High School National Invite Championship very much within their sights.
I know we shouldn't belabor the college point, but how are you feeling about John Randolph, Jock Nissen, Leo Gordon, Dylan Villeneuve, Aziz Adiemi, Solomon Rochmeyer Bailey?
I'm excited to see how they all come together. You know, losing Matt Hecht is a big, big loss. Keith a little more dismissive of that than I am, I guess.
And you could tell Mac I said it.
Losing Ned Dick as well, also a key member of that team. And
now you're talking.
And now, you know, certainly some incoming talent, but, you know, it's always tough for freshmen. Almost always, you know, unless you're someone like the aforementioned John Randolph.
He can give him advice.
Certainly.
How to be an All-American in year one.
Yeah, Brown certainly should be another perhaps title contender again in 2020.
Hard not to be excited about the future of college ultimate when you come to this tournament. It's in such close proximity to the college championships. All these seniors rounding out their college or their high school careers and showing tantalizing potential.
Rock going to call a foul on that throw. I don't think there'll be much argument about it.
Rock headed to Davidson next year, so he'll be joining the D3 ranks. Davidson having a tough year this year, but perhaps adding a talented player like Rock could really help.
High release from Rosenthal to Compeline. An easy continue to the wide open Larson. Swing it to the near side now is Edina. They score. Paul Krennick capping it off. That was nice disc movement for Edina. They get the clean hold.
Not getting trapped on the sideline. Good for your zone offense. And Edina going to work there. 5 or 6 different players touching the disc on this point. See the quick disc movement. Activity with the legs.
That's just something we really have not seen from Edina offensively, that confident, quick disc movement. Still a tough road ahead for Edina.
But a glimmer of hope, Daniel.
Yes, yes. Staying within reach.
The door is just cracked open right now.
You really do feel, though, that they'll probably need a break here to really feel like they have a chance. Already a tough job ahead of them, but it would be even tougher to have to score 4 in a row.
And I think the thing I want to pay attention to here defensively is how much pressure can they put on the reset. If they go to their zone, it's a little bit of a different story. They want to be able to set that trap defense that we've seen them utilize a couple of times. But if they match up here, can they make it more difficult for Berkeley to get the disc from sideline to sideline? They really have lost that battle when they've been in matchup defense.
Take a look at the Berkeley O-line. They've had a good half. Curry hitting Gordon underneath for the first throw of the possession. Gordon hitting Wells, who got open on the strike cut. Ball Burak. Wells giving it right back to Ball Burak. Kirkman Davis to the far sideline to Curry. Berkeley has shown such impressive patience all game long. Content to continue that trend. Curry able to lose his mark to get open for that reset. With that one low, nearly hitting the ground. Daniel Essler, he thinks he saved it. Edina wants to have a conversation about it.
Felt like from my vantage point that he made the catch, but open the conversation on the matter.
He's going to send it back. Take another look.
Curry certainly made it interesting for him.
It's hard to tell definitively from that angle. Ron Svet never really getting close to that one, but you see the desperation from Edina defensively, needing to get this disc. Big gainer to Curry. We haven't seen him downfield a whole lot. We have seen him do plenty of that, though. He lasers a forehand into Gordon. Berkeley so patient until they find that one lane to the end zone and they convert. They're 1 point away from a championship.
At least 3 assists so far for Curry. As he finds Gordon for Gordon's second straight goal. And a little pressure applied to the reset that time, but Adina not able to get the turn. Berkeley just a little too stingy there. Down the sideline, sensing that their backs are against the wall. You can see the nerves on their faces as they know their season is hanging in the balance and by a thread at that.
In contrast, you see the looseness and the smiles on Berkeley. Edina will need 4 straight goals. See their O-line out there. They have one job. That is to make sure that they get the goal on this point. Looks like it'll be Kirkman Davis on the pull for Berkeley once he's ready. Big pull, but it looks like it's headed out of bounds. And well out of bounds at that. So Edina will at least start with good field position. It's Compoline with the disc. He takes the quick reset to Rosenthal. Not sure how Rosenthal was able to save that one, but he did.
He and Rock just miscommunicating with each other as Rock tried to ask him to come up the line.
And now a hammer into traffic, but pinned point from Rock to Larson. Larson to the end zone for the score. A.J. Wind on the receiving end of that pass. So Edina just able to maintain possession on that catch on the reset. A couple throws later, they're in the end zone.
Larson continues to be the key to Edina's offense in the second half. Coming down with another high throw, and then tosses in his second assist. Third of the game, and he's pairing that with a pair of goals as well. So a little bit of everything from A.J. Larson, though certainly a little heavier on the receiving side.
And Larson, a player, I believe, Keith, that if memory serves, that we will be seeing at the next level next season.
Yeah, if he makes Minnesota Grey Duck and decides to play.
Hasn't been his best game, but based on what we've seen of him this weekend, I would say he probably has a pretty good chance of making Grey Duck. Berkeley, though, will just need a hold to win this one. You see Edina on the sideline. All those players can do now is watch. I hope there's 7 on the line. It can get this break. Keep them in it. It'll be Rondesvet on the pole once again.
See if there's a last gasp in this Edina team.
Curry catching the pole from Rondesvet. Wells has it in the middle.
They're back into the zone defense. Rondesvet really deep as there's just one cutter pulling him back, but another block for Edina, and there is life.
And that one was an easy one for Wolford. Speecher on the far sideline, trying to continue down the line. Right to the hands of Wolford. So Edina with a short field chance to break. If you're able to convert here, things could get interesting, but a point block by Gordon. Rejecting Seymour at the point of attack.
All right, Leo Gordon. Have yourself a day.
Particularly impressive in this second half as Leo Gordon.
I mean, that was a great 8 seconds of defense from Berkeley altogether.
And the scuba to Gordon gains about 15 yards.
Get some oohs and ahs from the crowd.
I think the sideline wanted there to be a bid defensively, but the throw was such that Gordon was always going to be the one to make the catch. Nice hammer to Gordon now. Curry with a nice pop to Speecher. Ball Burak now. Berkeley knocking on the door of a national title. It's Wells with the disc. The swing to Kirkman Davis. Kirkman Davis to Speecher, gives it right back. Swing to Wells.
We've seen Edina in this red zone look be able to stifle Berkeley for long periods of time.
Wells to Speecher in the middle.
Now the call to transition from the sideline. Berkeley a little less prepared to attack it.
A good transition defensively from Edina. We saw them struggle with that earlier in this game. Ball Burak, nice catch, and that one that was starting to pop up in the air a bit. They continue to the end zone. That's Speecher for the goal. Berkeley win the high school national invite.
How's this for a Berkeley haiku? Berkeley are your high school national invite champions this year.
Wasn't counting your syllables at all, Keith, but I'll have to give it to you. Take another look at this final possession. Nice grab by Speecher in the end zone. Impressive turnaround from Berkeley after giving up those 2 breaks to start. They outscore Edina 13-8 the rest of the way. Had that big run in the first half. And that's emblematic of how their tournament started. Losing their first game of the weekend in pool play. They stormed back all the way to a championship win. Impressive tournament, an impressive game. from the West Coasters.
What resolve from Berkeley? You know, they come back from giving up the Callahan to go on a run to win this one. Come back from losing their first game of the tournament, come back from losing their state title. They're one of the probably highest seeded teams here that didn't win their state championship, but they do win this year's high school national invite with an impressive performance.
So Berkeley going home the champions. It's been a fun weekend all weekend long here in Rockford. The 2019 high school national invite has come to a close. For Keith Rayner, Charlie Eisenhood, and Maylene Converse on cameras. Aiden Shapiro-Layton, our rock steady producer back there. Sam Echeverria, who is on color commentary as well.
And good old Bot.
Can't go without thanking Bot. Good old trusty Bot. I've been Daniel Prentice, live on ultiworld.com for the 2019 High School National Invite. Thanks for tuning in.